Hi guys, welcome back to Caffeinated Nurse. If you're new here, my name is Faiza and my channel is all about pretty much everything to do with nursing school. So if you like this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe. On today's video is going to be a part 2 of how to write a perfect nursing research paper. I did this video a few weeks ago, so you can check it out up here before you continue with this one. I had already highlighted the important points on chapter 1, that's the introduction, and chapter 2, the literature review. So we can go ahead and highlight important points on research methodology, which is chapter 3. The first thing in research methodology is the study setting. It's basically stating the place where the study will take place and briefly describe that area. If it is a school, you can state the motto, the vision, and the approximate population of that study setting. The other thing is describing the study design. You have to choose the design that best fits your title and the type of research that you're going to be conducting. There are two categories of the study design. That's the descriptive and analytical designs. Under the descriptive, we have the case reports, the case studies, and the cross-sectional studies. Under descriptive design, we have the case reports, case studies, and cross-sectional studies. Under observational studies, it's further categorized into cross-sectional studies, case control studies, and cohort studies. I'm sorry, but I'm not going into details about the study designs. Maybe in another video, inshallah. The third subtopic under research methodology is the sample size determination. Sampling ensures that the conclusions that you make from the study accurately represent the entire population. There are two types of sampling, that's the non-probability sampling and the probability sampling. Probability sampling includes simple random sampling, cluster sampling, stratified sampling, and systematic sampling, while the non-probability sampling includes convenience sampling, snowball sampling, purposive sampling, and quarter sampling. Undergraduate studies mainly use the probability sampling techniques, and again, I'll go into details on sampling techniques in another video, so if you'd like to know about that, let me know in the comments. To determine the sample size, choose the appropriate formula that best fits your topic and the kind of study that you're doing. Fourth item is the study population. Simply just describe the population that you're going to be including in the study. Is it the students? Is it the lecturers? Is it the subordinate staff, maybe in a school? Is it people from a certain village? That brings me to the fifth and sixth thing. That's the inclusion and exclusion criteria. In the inclusion criteria, you describe the characteristics that the population has in order to be included in the study. While the exclusion criteria, these are the characteristics that the population has that disqualify the individuals from participating in the study. The next thing is the data collection tools. I know you already know about these. These are like questionnaires, checklists. They are the instruments used to collect data for your study. The eighth subtopic in the research methodology is the sampling and data collection procedure. Describe how you're going to collect the data. You can include the time, you can include how people are going to do it. If there are any approval process, you can describe them in this. State who is going to approve this process of collecting data. Describe it according to your topic and the kind of research that you're going to be conducting. The ninth section that you need to describe in the research methodology is the data analysis. After you have collected the data, how are you going to organize this information in order? How will you structure the main components in a way that findings are easily understandable and easily communicated? You can mention the kind of software that you're going to be using to analyze your data. The main one that I know of is the SPSS. Don't ask me how to use it, I'm not an expert in that. The last thing that you need to mention in the research methodology is the ethical consideration. Describe how you're going to maintain confidentiality of your respondents in this study and even how the consent of the respondents is going to be obtained. And that's all for chapter 3, the research methodology. Let's go ahead and briefly discuss chapter 4, 5, and 6. Chapter 4 is the results and discussions. After processing data that you have obtained, example from the questionnaires, go through each question in the questionnaire and mention how the respondents responded to it. For example, you can state that you got 60% of female respondents and 40% of male respondents. You're just going to do that for all the questions in that questionnaire. Remember not to manipulate anything in your study, as it is going to affect the conclusions that you're going to make in the last chapter. The fifth chapter is the discussions based on specific objectives. Do you remember the specific objectives that you used in chapter 1? Here's the place that they're going to be useful. In this chapter, you're simply going to relate the results and the discussions that you did in the previous chapter in the specific objectives. objectives. And finally, the last chapter is the recommendations and conclusions. Note that you should start with the conclusions before you go ahead to the recommendations. Look at the results and conclusions that you had made before and process that information so that you can come up with what you have concluded from all that. Recommendations can be divided into two. That's recommendations for further studies and recommendations in general. Recommendations for further studies, the researcher recommends the areas that need more data, need more information, so that more effective and accurate conclusions can be made. And lastly, the recommendations in general, the researcher just states what they will recommend to be done or done away with. This depends on the study topic and the study field. If your study and topic was about community health, you can address the community leaders, you can address the county government, pretty much anyone who is involved in the community. That's it for today's video. If you have some questions or recommendations or suggestions, I'll leave the link in my description, so make sure you do that. I post every other week, so if you like this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe and turn those notifications on so that you can be notified whenever I post. So see you in my next one. Bye!